So if you missed the Google Meet today explaining directions, then this is the screencast that you should be watching. If you were there for the Google Meet and got the directions, you don't need this. If you're not sure what time you're supposed to come to your Google Meets, please check the schedule. I have one in the directions page that says here is the schedule for distance learning if you don't know when your class starts, and you need to attend class at the correct time every day. And the Google Meet, if you're more than a few minutes late, then we've already started going over directions. So just like if you're late for class on a regular school day, we're not going to start over when you come in. So you will miss things if you come late. That's what these screencasts are for. So you will need to come to those Google Meets. And again, if you're late, you will be watching these screencasts, but you have to do one or the other in order to get directions and get the lesson for the day. You're responsible for what's in there. So, um, what we're looking at today. Now, yesterday you watched the story of us westward. If you haven't done that yet, you need to go back and watch that video. It introduces the explorers we're learning about, and it talks about westward expansion. So it introduces our unit, and you're going to be a little confused about who some of these people are if you haven't watched that yet. So make sure you do. It says you're going to be making a layered thematic map of the expansion of the U.S., the Native American tribes, and the routes of exploration and migration or movements. So use this link to get to resource maps to help you, though that link is found throughout your assignment. Make sure that you have shared this with me again, and then you're also towards the end going to be reading articles and watching videos about the expansion of the U.S. and answering questions, adding things to your map, stuff like that. So what's a layered thematic map? Let me show you what this will do. So we will start with a map that has these territories on it. You'll be pasting those into the correct places. And then over top of that, you'll be pasting names of different Native American tribes where they belong. Now, we're also mapping, say, Daniel Boone's route here. Now, if you put Daniel Boone's route on this map, you will see that it starts just over Chesapeake Bay and comes up and ends up in Kentucky. Now, what Native American tribes would he have encountered? He will go right between the Shawnee and Cherokee territories on his map. That makes his story make a lot more sense when it talks about his encounters with those tribes, purchasing land from them, having some fighting going on. Some of his members of his group were even killed coming through here because they were trespassing on territory that didn't belong to them. So that story starts to make more sense when you map out where he went and what was happening at the time. We're going to be mapping Lewis and Clark's route from the core of discovery. We're going to be mapping Zebulon Pike and Jed Smith's route, the Oregon Trail, the California Trail, all on this same base map. So your map looks like this, and you already have the things listed in your key that are going to be going on the map here. So you will be, for example, drawing Boone's route, which we know is right about here, coming up into Kentucky. We know from reading about him that his route goes through the Cumberland Gap. Now, I put a little triangle on here to represent the Cumberland Gap. And I can just simply copy and paste that into my key to show that that's the symbol I used. I want to keep it small and simple. Boone's route, I need a line to show his route, and every one of these will have to be a different color because otherwise they will look the same on the map. So if I make Boone's route black and Smith's route black and Pike's route black, how would anyone know which is which? So they have to be different colors. Now, if I make Boone's route blue, I've just made a huge error because all of the rivers on this map are blue. So I can't have blue lines to show their routes. Okay. If I use black, it can get a little confusing, but this map happens to use sort of dotted red lines, and then so in some places there really isn't much of a line to show between different territories. They definitely don't use just black. So you could use a dark black line to show one of the routes. So pay attention to that. All these symbols have to be different. If you have the same symbol for South Pass and Cumberland Gap, anyone looking at this map would not know which was which. Okay, so one thing I want to show you first, you are going to be putting the names of the different territories onto your map. You're going to be able to copy and paste them on from this page right here, which I keep moving these around because I like to put the page I'm working on right below my map. So I was going to take Oregon country, happen to know where that one is, also happen to know where Texas is. Why don't I do this? I'm going to Control C and copy it onto the map, Control V. Now I want to put Texas where I know it belongs, which is right about here. And that's how I label these, right off of that page. So I get all those put on. I have all those places labeled, nice and simple from this page. This one says that I'm doing this on December 1st. On your map, you'll see that. I also have this page that says I have a bunch of map requirements. The abbreviation TODALs or totals, it has two S's on it, and here's what it stands for: title, orientation, date, author, legend, source, and scale. So basically, my map has to have a title, a compass rose, which is the orientation or the directions, a date, an author, that's you. The date is going to be the date you completed the map. The legend is the same thing as a key. The source is where you get your information from, and I've given it to you right here. The scale of distance is already on the map. Thankfully, we don't have to worry about it. It's right here. But all of those things have to get added with text boxes here. The compass rose, I reserved a place for you to put one here with the directions. All of that has to go on the map somewhere. Okay, then I can start putting these on, these different regions. Starting on December 2nd, your assignment will say December 2nd on this page. I start putting Native American tribes on the map. These, same thing. I'm going to copy them, Control C, and I'm going to paste them on the other map. Now, I like to take these and move them so they're right next to the map, so I can just go back and forth. The Crow, I need to find where they go. And if I look at my map, I see them right about here. Now, there's a few states labeled on here. Here's Minnesota. I know the Crow are too far over this way to be in Minnesota. I know that the Dakotas will be right about here, North and South Dakota. Here's Montana here. The Crow are right around here. So when I go to this map, somewhere right about here is where I want those Crow to go. Whoops. I do want to copy and paste that. So let's try that again. I want to Control C, and I want to come back to the map, Control V, and I want to put those crows somewhere probably right about here. And now they're on my map, okay, along with all the other labels that I've done. So that's how you're going to put Native Americans on your map. And again, go ahead and move these slides around so they're where you need them to be, to make it a little easier. Okay, now I don't want you to go ahead and start working on these other pages. I have really important directions for those. So when we get to that, we'll get to it. On Wednesday, let's see. On Tuesday, Wednesday, you're working on this. Today's Tuesday. So Tuesday and Wednesday, you're working on these first map requirements. Thursday, we will get to Daniel Boone, and I want to show you where all the links are that you need and the different things that you have to do for that. If you work ahead and you make mistakes, that is a big problem. So we're not going to start those yet. So for now, just worry about your map. It is a summative project. It is 50 points worth of a summative project. So you have to make sure you get things in the right place, and that you're paying attention to those directions and doing a really, really good job. Okay. I think that's it for now to get you started on the map, and we'll see you back at a Google Meet tomorrow.